Maybe we need like a welcome line. Welcome to Swift Lounge, where the dreams are made and the code is written. I was
You
trying
said the dreams are me.
No, where the dream
Oh, made. Made. The dreams are me. Right, okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Dreams of me. You were like bloody hell.
Well, arrogant.
I was
Hey everyone, welcome back to Swift Lounge. You probably remember from last episode we had Adam on and asked him a whole bunch of questions, kept him for over an hour, to the point where we felt like we had to split the podcast in two. So here's part two. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Because you said a keyword, the vibe. Like, I think the vibe of SwiftLeeds, in my opinion, is like very polished, like energetic, polished, and that badge looks like polished. You know what I mean? Very cool.
Yeah, we spend so much time on perfecting those small. So when we got into year 2 and we started having people help out, I always said to people, you've got to do the smallest thing, but it has to be amazing. So it don't do everything. Just do the small thing, do it amazing, and people will keep coming. And then you can start adding stuff on, and then you perfect that, and people keep coming, and then you can bolt stuff on. And this is clear. If you look over the years, we've done this with everything. Like, for example, live stream. We could have probably live streamed the conference from day one, but it wouldn't have been perfect. So it was like just launch a one-day conference with a small amount of speakers and make it amazing.
Nice.
And then start growing from there. And that's always been kind of certainly the back of my mind when it comes to SwiftLeeds. And then we said, right, let's expand it to 2 days, because we always knew we wanted to be 2 days. Pretty much from day one, it should have been a 2-day conference. But would it have been amazing? Maybe questionable. Whereas now it's like we're in a position to bolt the 2 days on and perfect it, and we can do that with the other stuff. So that's kind of, I guess I'm a bit of a perfectionist with stuff, and
you can tell.
That's probably why.
It's like the Apple mindset, I guess, as well, right? I think that's what they always say. And there's videos going back, I guess, of Steve Jobs, for example, I think says, the reason we outsource our manufacturing is because we focus on the things that we can do well and get other people to do the things that we can't. And stuff like that. So
probably, yeah, you could probably say that with like the venue and stuff like that. Like, we tried in year 1 to do the food. I think it was okay. I think people enjoyed it, but it's probably not something we're very good at doing. So it's like the venue takes care of that, and it's expensive. Don't get me wrong, but it's the value. You can see the value in it. It's like they're good at it.
Yeah.
The arancini.
Yeah, always gets rave reviews. The food, for sure.
The food is really good.
I remember in the early days going to conferences, and the food was always the last. It seemed to always be the last. What's the word?
Like priority?
Like the lowest. Yeah, like the lowest priority out of everything. And actually, I think if the food's bad, I think people would pretty much say the conference is bad. And I think food is so important. Food and drink, people want feeding and they want hydrating. And I think if you fail at that, I think people would be pretty upset. So yeah, it's like, if you're paying, a lot of people come to SwiftLeeds out of their own pocket, say £200, so it's £100 a day. You would expect a fairly reasonable, food and drink. I would expect. I mean, certainly I would. So I think others will. So we've always tried to get that right as well.
I think that's also something that makes me think that the price of SwiftLeeds is so reasonable. And I know this comes from Ollie and I, which are certified fanboys, but it is like objectively, I'd say it's one of the cheapest conferences there is. Is it the cheapest, maybe even? And it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And that's, I don't think we shout about it enough, but we are non-profit. So we're not technically a non-profit organization, but we don't profit in a sense that nobody takes money from the conference, apart from people who supply stuff for us. So like food, the venue, that kind of stuff. So really we just balance everything based on, one, how many tickets we sell, and two, what sponsors have we got on board. And that basically gives us the number that we can, one, bring tickets down to, and then also what level of experience we can give to people. So we've upped the price over the course of the years, not by a huge amount, but that was an effort to up the experience, up the quality, because we knew we could do better there, and just balance it, And I think we've pretty much hit that peak now. I don't think prices need to go up. I think we could stick at that, and I think still deliver that really good experience. And like you said, I think we're doing well when I look at comparison. I think we're pretty reasonably priced for companies. I think we're pretty reasonably priced for individuals. And that's what we want. SwiftLeeds really is there to serve the community. It's there to serve a purpose, and I've always said that from day one. I want it to serve for anyone, whether it's landing a job, whether it's speaking for the first time, whether it's helping out on the team, whether it's, I don't know, meeting some new friends. We had one person email us last year saying, thank you so much to SwiftLeeds. I really struggled to socialize with people, open up to people. But then when they come to SwiftLeeds, they just feel really comfortable, and they can speak to people. And it's messages like that where we're like, yeah, we're living up to the mission, right? It's serving the community. It's serving well for people. It's not there to pay for Adam Rush's retirement. It's not there to pay for, someone's holiday every year.
James's
it is
cruise.
there purely to, exactly. Yeah. I mean, James would love that, I'm sure.
I'm sure he would. Shout out to James, who right now is in the Mediterranean. Not on SwiftLeeds Dole, by the way, on his own. Oh, bless. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like as an attendee, you can feel this amazing environment at SwiftLeeds. And I'm about to go into a little bit of a touchy topic potentially, but don't worry. You're looking at me like, oh my god. So no, as a woman attendee at SwiftLeeds, I've always felt, first of all, incredibly included, safe, treated as a speaker as well as a woman speaker, treated like white gloves, we say. And it's been fantastic. But I think we were talking about it last year and the year before. There has been some criticism, or maybe a years before, that was saying something about the diversity. But I think there's been so many things done right throughout the last few years about diversity as SwiftLeeds. I saw we had a photo with all the women attendees last year, and when I saw that, I was like, wow, oh my god, there's so many of us. So yeah, so what are some of the things that have happened? I know there's bursaries, I think diversity bursaries, or
I mean, not everybody will probably agree with the way we maybe approach certain stuff, and that's okay. We definitely don't get everything right, and we've definitely not got everything right over the years, that's for sure. Like I was saying, you kind of have a retrospective in your head of the year and think, right, what could we do differently? What can we improve on? And diversity is always come up in my head, because I always question myself. I think, have we done enough? Have we done enough? What could we do more of? And I think it's that questioning that's probably helped propel us forward to do better. But I think you can always do better. There's always things we can do, and I always say to the team, if anyone's aware of anything, I want to hear it. If there's other stuff we can do. But the way we tackle, obviously, call for papers is anonymous. Again, not everybody agrees with this. People think it's bad. People think it's good. We've done both. We pre-selected people in year one. It was bad. We went to the anonymous. It ended up being amazing. And we've kind of stuck with that. And I think in general it works. But again, there's probably other things we can do to, improve it. I approached the group early on in the year, either this year or maybe late last year, which is the Women Who Code group. They've sadly closed. I think they've closed that one.
Oh yeah,
one of them. The one I approached have closed down. So I'd love to be involved in initiatives like that, and we'll keep pushing to do stuff like that. But the anonymous CFP works really well. And actually, look at this year. I think our lineup is, I want to say, almost half women.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less. I think maybe 40% are women, 45% are women, which is pretty amazing, I think. Yes. I do genuinely, because the thing is, when you break down the data, women are actually really successful at CFP, like call for papers. When you compare the acceptance ratio on our data, nobody else's, so our anonymous data, actually women are more successful. The problem we have is the number, right? So the number of people that are actually applying. So if I can get more women applying, they do better. So our number of women that appear on the schedule will be higher, because we've got the data to back that up.
That's really interesting, actually.
So, so we just have to keep promoting it, keep trying to encourage, maybe look at ways of, could we maybe run almost like sessions of how to submit a call for paper, like, maybe almost, stuff like that. I mean, of course, time is limited, but maybe there's options like that. And we also run the free speaker training as well. So we've just finished it, actually. So that happened last week, or maybe the week before. And we run the speaker training, because this year I think it's maybe, I want to say 35-40% are new speakers, brand new again. It's almost half have never spoken before.
Something that you said really struck with me. I did not. I mean, it's good to know that women are so successful at call for papers, and I think this is going to help, because maybe sometimes people are afraid to submit because they're like, "Oh, what's the point? And then I'll just get rejected." But maybe knowing that there's a good, there's a good chance, because I think one of the benefits of diversity in tech, from my point of view, and I hope I don't start rambling now because I know myself, is the fact that coming from different areas of life gives you a different perspective on things. That that is the richness of it, right? As they say, you can't make a pizza with only mozzarella, right? Like, you need different ingredients. I've solved the issue. No, I'm joking. But I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, I think people from different walks of life, and from, different genders, different nationalities, like different backgrounds, you just bring in your personal experience to our profession, to tech, to iOS development. And one thing actually very interesting is, now I've spoken to, I've had, I mean, the honor and the pleasure to speak at a lot of conferences in the last 2 years. But the reason why I started speaking is quite funny, because iOS Dev UK in 2022, they tweeted, they're like, we're desperate. We've only received 2 submission from women. Please, we're going to reopen the CFP for a week or 2 weeks. Please, women apply, basically, right? And I saw that and I was like, oh, that's quite, I was like, that's quite funny. I said, I'll do a favor to the cause of women everywhere. I'm going to submit my idea. So then it will be, extra volume to be rejected in favor of the good ones. And then I applied there and I didn't know how it went. And then I saw the call for papers for SwiftLeeds. And I was like, you know what? I said, I've written this now. Let's go. I didn't even think it was going to be a good idea, because I didn't think about the talk, right? When I wrote the pitch, I just thought, what could be interesting to talk about? This is something that I do that not many other people know about. And this was the Spark Your Creativity, the Power of Swift Playgrounds talk, where I just talk about, Swift Playgrounds. And if I didn't do that, if I didn't have almost like the permission to apply, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have applied then to SwiftLeeds, and then I wouldn't have done like God knows how many conferences and gone to all these amazing places. So I think what you just said about
and won an award for your talk as well, right?
I did. Yeah, I did. I actually I sometimes I forget. I was like, wow, I won the Swift Community Award for the most inspiring talk of the year, which was amazing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was good.
The thing is, it's like I don't want to. It's hard to say this because I think a lot of people get like publicly shot down for saying it, but people will always say, we want to include everyone, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, that runs quite deep in the sense that I genuinely do feel that, like, if I could have a full lineup of women, I would. As in, like, if all of those got accepted, it would happen.
Yeah.
Because it proves, right? Your talk was amazing, like incredibly, very well received, and then before you know it, you booked up everywhere, right? Giving the talk, like that's not by chance, right? That's not because you're a woman. That's because you delivered an incredible talk, right? That people loved. And it's balancing all of those things. It's hard. Like, I'm not going to lie. Balancing this is tough. And that's why I say I don't think it'll ever be perfect, because there'll always be something that we could probably tweak. But we've got so many success stories that I know we're on the track. We're on the right track, or at least our motives, like our morals, are in the right place. And it might not always be perfect, but at heart, we're trying to do our best, for everyone. Like, for example, Ibrahima,
Yes.
Ibrahima, I had to jump through so many hoops to get his visa into the UK from Senegal, because the UK was just, for some reason, had issues with African applications at that time. It was really hard. I had to phone the embassy so many times and all of this sort of stuff. But we managed to get it over the line. And wow, that guy delivered that talk, absolutely landed it. People loved it. And before you know it, he's booked up everywhere and, he's traveling the world. And Ibrahima says to me all the time, he's like, you give me the chance in life, really, because he can now move into different parts of Europe because he's had the visa the first time in the UK, so he gets granted more easily. Mm-hmm. He's obviously got the experience speaking. He's applied for jobs around the world. Like, all of a sudden, he's got all of this opportunity. And it's stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, we've got the best intentions. And that's diversity, right? That's one part of diversity. It's so the breadth of it is huge.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And that's, yeah, we're trying to do, best by everyone, really. That's the kind of the feeling. But you're right, your talk did deserve an award.
Thank you.
It was award worthy. It was great.
In hindsight, like when I first started writing, I was like, "What on earth am I saying?" And then at the end, I was like, "Actually, like I'm quite proud of that." At the end, but it took me a while to come to terms with that because I never like accept that I've done something right. I think I'm a bit like you with this, and I can sense some of this, like the fact that even though you want everything to always be perfect, nothing will ever be fully perfect in your mind. There's always something to do. But sometimes you
Yeah.
have to kind of like sit back and think like, actually, this is my therapist said that. Like, yeah, I'm proud of that. And you should be really proud for, what's happened with SwiftLeeds. Like we're at year 4. There's, there's an amazing conference podcast. But besides for that, there's like people that are racing to come to SwiftLeeds, like early birds that are sold out like so fast. It's yeah, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
And it's, to this day, it's still overwhelming because I always, when we're putting on the conference, I always reflect back to the first year, and in my head, I was saying, if we get 50 people turn up, it'll be brilliant. We've done well. We've basically covered costs. It'll be great. And we ended up with like 120. And then each year I like turn up and we obviously prep everything. And then on the morning of, people are like, "Oh, hi, Adam. Hi, Adam. Oh, hi, Adam." And then afterwards I'm like, "I'm really sorry, but I don't know that person's name. Like, I don't recognize that person." And to this day, it still overwhelms me that people I don't know are coming to the conference. Like, I've still not got over the fact that people outside of my circle know about SwiftLeeds, and that is really, it's quite overwhelming actually. Like, overwhelming as a good thing. It's a good feel. It's a great feeling, but I still get overwhelmed that people know about SwiftLeeds.
Do you know what's really funny? Is like last year with the live streaming, it was awesome because my family got to watch me talk live from Italy. And I was at Christmas, I was over there, and one of my aunts is like, "How are you doing again this swiftly?" And I was like, "Don't." I was just, there's like a random old lady in Italy that just knows about your
That's
company.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
No,
And
but
I imagine they all absolutely loved Build a Binary and followed along with the whole thing.
oh, the compilers.
Can I send can I send them some swag? Maybe I can send them some
Would
SwiftLead
love that.
swag.
Literally
That'd
would
be
love that.
awesome.
I'll send you a photo. I'll send you a photo of that. That would be so funny. No, but yeah, you should be really proud. I think SwiftLead is one of these conferences that like everyone now knows about, right? In the iOS community. And I can say this safely, right? Like everyone who goes to conferences or even is thinking about going to conferences has heard of SwiftLeads. It's a thing that everyone's enjoys. So that's also very good.
and,
So
and,
that's
and all experience levels as well, right? Because
Yes.
I mean, my colleague now who's been working with me for since I think the second Swift lead, so it's the 3 years I guess now. Like I met him at Swift Leads, and he had never had a professional iOS job. He just learnt it during the pandemic, and was like, "Oh yeah, I've got a different career, but I'd love to get started in iOS." And I was like, "Just come along, let's chat, see if you're interested in working with us." And never looked back since, which is like quite, just all those little things that just kind of make it just so special.
so thanks for sharing that, because I don't get to hear stuff like that. So it's quite nice to hear that. But what is it that, like, from your two's perspective, what is it, if you could name maybe one or two things And maybe, I know you touched on this earlier, but like if you could name one or two things, what is it do you think that we do that ticks those boxes? That makes people think, wow, like I want to go back to SwiftLeeds, or I really want to attend because of what do you think it is?
That's a good question. Because to come up with a word or two, there's many words. It's so hard to describe because for me is the environment that has been created through a series, as you said, of like details, the light. Yeah, I guess like details and the light. I would say that. That's how I feel. And the environment that created. The fact that like if now I think about it, I can see myself, like walking into the playhouse, going to get my merch, and then getting to pick my merch, and then seeing like a bunch of people that I know from, all over the years, like, oh, it's you, oh, it's you. Like there's one of my friends from SwiftLeeds that I see there every year, Wesley. I'm like, oh, where's Wesley? Is he coming back? Or maybe it's him that left a nice comment. Actually, I'm gonna ask him. Like, you know what I
Could
mean?
be.
It could be like it's the environment that I know to expect. It's going to be an amazing 2 days, just a
Is
delight. Like
it?
I feel safe in knowing that my expectations are gonna be met. Basically, sounds a bit harsh, but
Is
that's how I feel.
yeah? Is the answer then almost like it's the fact that it's so cohesive and like holistic
Yes.
as a thing, right? Everything just as Adam, you said, like you put a lot of effort into getting everything perfect, right? So it's like the coming in to start with, like just the like it's just nice to get the swag and the stuff and all the badges just look professional and nice, and like that just it starts off with such a good first impression, but then everything is like all of the talks are so slick and just the speakers are always exceptional. And then even like the space, like there's a huge networking area. It's well lit and kind of like there's just so much space for kind of chatting with people, catching up, and you never feel like like in the first year, right? It was quite cramped in that room, and that like you just done like a great job at going, okay, cool. Well, that wasn't working, so like let's make sure that there's adequate space, and like just everything is just like so spot on that it's kind of hard to point at any individual thing that is the reason. But I
Yeah,
think that then all adds up to be the reason,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Like if someone asked me what your answers would have been before I asked that question, I think that is what I would have said you would have said. I think because like we're not. I mean, we're quite unique in the sense that we do certain stuff that no other conference does. Like, for example, the drop-in sessions.
Yeah.
Name me a conference that runs something like that. So I think it's okay for us to say that we're a unique conference because we do unique stuff, right? But when you peel back those things, it is just another of the conferences that operate. So I'm always curious as to why people would say that about SwiftLeeds and not by some other conferences, but maybe they do. Maybe there's, maybe everyone sort of has the same vibe at the other conferences. It's just that we've built the community around the SwiftLeeds one, and that's the people that you network with, perhaps, because there'll be people that attend other conferences regular and will say that's the best conference, because they've sort of become accustomed to how it operates and it's so slick and everything else. I don't know, maybe I'm just being too nice, and maybe people actually would say, no, SwiftLeeds is amazing. But, I'm not like that, I'm friends with everyone, So that's a really good point, actually, because we get a lot of companies and people, individuals who organize other events, meetups, conferences, that kind of stuff, looking for us to either promote or to cross promote or be associated and that kind of thing. and so many people say, "Oh, why are you not doing that?" And the answer's quite complex, but I'll try and summarize it. It's not because I don't support other conferences. In fact, it's the opposite, right? Meetups for me are really important, like more important than conferences. Meetups are the very thing that, in my opinion, keeps the community alive, like keeps it going. A yearly conference is a one-off, right? But if you've got a monthly meetup, like super important. The job that those people do is amazing. And then similar with conferences, I think what other people are doing with other conferences is amazing, right? The more conferences in more places we have, the better, because it serves the community, right? Whether they choose SwiftLeeds or another conference, perfect. Like, I think it's great. But the thing that I've never done is associate with anyone else. And the reason for that is because I have a very particular way of doing stuff. And as I mentioned, I'm quite detailed in stuff. And I try and get it right, Like I try and make the things I do, I try and get right. What I want to avoid to happen is for someone else or some other event or conference or whatever it is to perhaps not approach something like how we would approach it. That might go against what my beliefs are, such as diversity is a massive one. How they approach speakers, how they, like, all of these things that I put a lot of time and effort in, I don't want to be negatively impacted by something that happens somewhere else. So that's really why we've never sort of, said, oh, in partnership with X or, in associate, like we've tried to avoid that for that very reason. However, we've just given away loads of tickets to meetups, all different meetups. I'm trying to think of ways of how can I help these people out on the back of SwiftLeeds,
Nice.
but in a way that people don't think, oh, that event there, isn't that to do with SwiftLeeds? Because if they don't quite do something how we would do it, or it's not quite the right way, I don't want that like negative association. So it's quite hard. I don't think there's an easy solution, but I'm thinking of ways of how can we still support those people and those events and those conferences, but not with association, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
And that's kind of the reason why we've never, because I mean, you see it all the time, there's other events and they'll list all the other events that are happening. And I think that's amazing. But, it only takes one of those to have a lineup of all white men, for example, or, something that we just wouldn't allow to happen, or email some derogatory message to a speaker, or, anything that's like could be, well, just something we would never do. And that's the reason why we've sort of stayed a bit clear of that. But otherwise, I think what all the other conferences are doing, all the other organisers, I have so much love for because I know how much work goes in. IOSWK, like you mentioned, I spoke there. That was, I think, actually might have been the very first conference that I attended, to be honest. Or
Really?
yeah, so like I have a lot of love for those guys. There's, in fact, we have given some tickets to the organisers there to come along to SwiftLeeds for free.
Oh my god! I really hope they come there. They're so nice.
So like, there's nothing there. Like I admire those people, like because I know what it takes to put on such conference. So
yeah, that's good. That's amazing. I think we might have to wrap up just for the reason that Adam, we said, oh, Adam, it'll take 30 minutes. It'll take 30 minutes. But you always have to think
I
about this
know.
like 30 Italian minutes.
And it's also, to be fair, an extent your fault, right? Because you've given us such insightful answers.
Well, it's been so good. This has been like, as you know, as SwiftLeeds fanboys certified. No, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for the time, and
Absolutely.
thank you for all the sneak peeks that we've seen. I can't believe we got to see the badge. Woo! Yeah, and thank you for speaking so openly as well. It's so appreciated, and yeah, can't wait to be in
No,
Leeds.
Thanks for organising such an awesome
Thanks.
conference.
Yes,
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for running this amazing podcast. I know people love it. I mean, you know, they're publicly sharing it as well on
fan.
the Apple Podcast reviews. Your fan, and yeah, I can't wait to see you both in Leeds, and everyone else who's listening. We're gearing up now. We're like less than 30 days, and it's shaping to be a special year. So yeah, I hope we deliver for everyone.
My God, Adam, thank you so much.
Cheers, both.
Bye, thank you, Adam.
See you soon.
Bye, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
That was awesome. We learned so much.
That was, yeah. I know. That was like, I wasn't expecting to see the conference badge. I wondered what kind of secret he was going to bring along. Yeah, I am ecstatic for the yellow lanyard. Yellow is my colour. It's on my website. It's always my slides. Like, yeah.
You
So
wear a
that's
lot of
gonna be so
yellow.
cool.
You wear a lot of yellow as well. Like
Yeah.
you got your yellow Converse, yellow
Yeah.
jumper. Yeah,
Yep.
that's gonna
Yeah.
be awesome.
Gotta be consistent branding, you know.
Yep. What's my color?
I don't know what you have for consistent colour. Swiftly coding into the sunset. Until next time, keep your syntax tight.
Swiftly coding into the sunset. No.
Stay swift, stay snappy, and keep those bugs happy.
No way. Oh my God.
This one sounds quite familiar. I think it's a bit of a mashup of what we've had before, but it's come out genuinely brand new just now. Swift dreams and swift streams, coding champions. See you at the next SwiftLeeds.